everyone. We're doing our mid-August garden tour. So we're going to do the backyard, what's in bloom, the front yard with the front mailbox area. I haven't showed you an update on that lately. And also the cute little pumpkin area where I planted little pumpkins. I want to show you that little blooming area. That was more of the seeded area that I planted. So come along with me and let me show you what is in beautiful bloom in mid-August. So we've got the generous gardener roses climbing on the new trellis, and they were planted in the spring and they're doing really good. Look how tall they are already. This little garden bed was planted up this season. Last year this was all grass, and then we mulched it halfway through the season last year, and then this year I got it all planted up. That rose, the pink rose in the middle, is doing the best. It smells really good, and it has really pretty blooms on it. So I'm liking that. The window boxes look gorgeous with all the super petunias and the superbena, the sweet Caroline potato vine, and then I carried that through on the front of the garden house. Right now, this little area here is blooming the best and looking the best at this time in August. So we have multiple sitting pretty roses. That's a quick fab hydrangea that will get 6 to 8 foot tall and wide and fill in nicely. Way back in the back, the white rose is a Polar Express rose. And then the tall pink flowers. We've got a hot pink one over here, and then this lighter pink one back here, and that's an annual, that's Cleome, and that does really well cut and taken in the house and putting in a vase for fresh flower arrangements. It's really pretty. And that serendipity allium that I got, look at that, the bees really like that. And they really like this salvia. Do you see there's a bunch of them on that? I see about 5 right now on there. The Olivia Austin rose is looking really pretty. This is its second season. Now this little one, it's its second season also, and this is a David Austin rose, and it's Desdemona. And there's the bloom on that. It starts out like a pink bud and then opens to more of that creamy white color with a little bit of pink tinge on it. The Boscobel is full of buds again, so it'll be blooming here shortly. The urns are doing okay, but they are looking tired. They're ready for some fall plants here before long. And then we've got some knockout roses back here in pink and red, some purple Cleome, a supertunia that was a volunteer, some coneflower. And then in the Lowe's video, I showed you the white diamond hydrangea and said I didn't know where I would put it if I got it. Well, I went back and got it over the weekend, and I planted it today. So I had some salvia there, some May night, and I just pulled out that one salvia and put it here, and it's underneath the magnolia tree in front of the 2 hybrid tea roses. So if I back up, I think that this will look really pretty as it fills in, because that's a short hydrangea, 3 to 4 foot tall and wide, and it took sun to part shade. So this will get some sun throughout the day, and then it'll also have that shade. And I just needed some color here. I have a lot of stuff under the tree, but not a lot of color. And I'm noticing that now in different areas. So I may be changing some stuff out. I mirrored the opposite side, but instead put a pink one in, and actually that was an error on my part. I wanted 2 of these pink ones, and when I bought that red one, the blooms were kind of faded on it and they looked pink, and I thought I was grabbing a pink one and didn't realize until I had it already planted and it bloomed again that it wasn't the right color. But at that point, I just decided to leave it, because I do have the pink and red on the other side of the garden, on the far side of the yard. So it still goes, but I was trying to get the red, less red in the garden, but that's okay. The planter back there is doing really well. That is a Rockapoka double impatient in that hot pink color, and then the polka dotted plant is the hippo white. And then I have these hostas now that are blooming, and they have a real pretty white flower on them when they open up. And I don't know what kind of hostas they are. They were here, I think they were here when we moved in, and or I might have got a start when we first moved in from my mom. I don't recall. But they're real fragrant. But there used to be a tree in this area, and so they did better when there was a tree there. Now they get a little bit too much sun, so it gets, you know, the leaves burn a little bit. But they still look really pretty, so I leave them. And those make the white stalks. I'll cut those and take those in and put those in a vase inside, and they make really pretty vase flowers also. The Boxwood circle is doing well with the fountain. You know, that's going to take time for all those little tiny baby boxwoods that were newly planted this summer to catch up to some of the bigger ones that are a couple seasons. Like I had mentioned in previous videos, this had 2 seasons ago, this was all grass, that I created this circle and planted 16 boxwood. And within the first 2 seasons that they were there, by this beginning of this season, I only had 4 that had made it. So I went out and started over again and kept the 4 that were there, but then bought more to fill in and try again. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm hoping that they do better. They don't overwinter very well in this area. They just get too cold and they freeze out. But I'm wondering now, because we put the landscape rock down this summer, if they'll do better because of the warmth of the rock this winter, and maybe that'll keep the boxwood alive. I don't know, but we'll see. But this is looking pretty. And of course I love the fountain. I love the sound the fountain makes. It's a nice retreat in the backyard. Oh, and I do have to tell you, this morning I came out to fill up the fountain and something jumped out from under the flowers next to the fountain, and it was Mr. Rabbit. I don't know which one of us was more freaked out, Mr. Rabbit or myself. I wasn't expecting him to be under the planter next to the fountain. Okay, so let's go over and look at where at the little garden area next to our shed that I planted the pumpkins, the little miniature pumpkins. And this is where I planted a lot of seeds. But I planted seeds late because I was so focused on working on the backyard. So things are not as big as what they would normally be because it was so late, but that's okay. Okay, the little pumpkins are looking really good. Look at all the yellow flowers on them. I think they're going to do really, I'm hoping they'll do really good, but they're growing well. And then I have some black-eyed Susans that I had transplanted from the front mailbox garden back here this season. And also a lot of coneflower I transplanted from the front mailbox area back here. I did plant these zinnias from seed this year. A green pink, and then they turn to a pretty pink. And then we've got some sunflowers, and these were supposed to be the dwarf variety, so they don't get huge, but the flower heads on them do seem to get, there's a bee on one, do seem to get really large. And then we've got some cosmos that are just taken over, some more zinnias in the green envy, I think is what it's called, or maybe it's just called envy, and it has that chartreusey green color. I think the camera's picking it up more yellow, but they are more of a green color. And then I added some more mini pumpkins, some seeds over here, so I've got some down here that are taken off, and then there's like a little coneflower back there that's starting to. So I'm hoping that I get some mini pumpkins to decorate with this season. But this area is looking good, and this area I can see really well from our deck. So I do have taller stuff in there, and I'm fine with that because of, it's not meant to be a close-up garden, it's meant to be a distance garden where I can enjoy the pop of color while I'm out sitting on the deck. So now let's go check out the front garden area. Let's talk about this front garden bed. It is looking absolutely gorgeous. The pollinators are loving it. I have jumbo bumblebees all over that purple Victoria blue salvia. The white tall flowers are Cleome. We've got some hot pink vinca over there in the corner. Some zonal geraniums next to that. Some white zinnias. Dusty Miller here, the white plant, the white leafy plant. We have this real pretty pink dahlia that's a miniature. Over here we've got most of the same stuff mirrored on the other side. And here's another dahlia that's a darker burgundy color. That's pretty. And then we do have a red knockout rose on this side that was original, that I didn't plant new this year. But then there's a lot of other stuff up here that I did plant, and I'll put a picture up so you can see what this looked like in May before I planted it, because I started fresh on this bed. Other than the knockout rose, I had taken everything out of this bed and started over this season. And we're really enjoying it. It's really pretty from the the windows in the house too to look out and see. And there's a funny story that goes with this. So the other day my husband was sitting in the living room and he looked out and there was our two little neighbor girls, preschool age sisters, walking with grandma out here, and they stopped and they wanted to pick the flowers, and grandma was explaining to them that they couldn't pick the flowers because not only were there bees all over the flowers, but also they weren't their flowers, so they couldn't pick them. And the little girls were having none of it. They wanted to pick the flowers. But that's turned out really well and filled out very nicely from what it started out to be. These are the front urns on the front steps, and they are doing really well. Look at that chocolate drops coleus. And if you recall, when I planted this in May, I was really concerned that it wouldn't like it here because this is west facing sun, and I didn't think that it would want that much sun, but it's done really well, as you can tell, and loving its life up here on the west side of the house. There is whiteout verbena is what you're seeing, and Picasso supertunias, the chocolate drops coleus. There is some sweet alyssum that I had in there from when I first had the spring flowers. I left it because I thought I could reuse it, and it is doing still well. So all of these flowers are proven winners except for the sweet alyssum. Now this one does have sweet Caroline sweet potato vine in it. The other one did too, and for some reason the other side did not make it. It died out, but this one is doing good. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today and going on the garden tour. I hope you enjoyed the backyard and the front yard and got to see a little bit of what's in bloom right now, and it gave you some ideas and some inspiration of things you may want to plant in your yard and in your garden. Have a great day, everyone, and check out this video next.